Right here at Citizen Television, it's that part of the evening. Get your questions, comments ready. My guests tonight, if you're just joining us, Sakaja, Johnson, and Mutula Kilonzo. And by the way, any of you who think this was a debate about Nairobi County, it is not, okay? It is not. These are two young, smart, brilliant Kenyans running for office in different counties on different parties. Is that too much to understand? If it's not, let's go on. Twitter handles at Sakaja Johnson, at Sen Mutula, at Koinange Jeff. There's been too much chatter on Twitter, gentlemen, that why didn't I bring other people here? This, come on, man. What is this?
Take it easy, Jeff.
Okay, sorry.
Relax. Okay. All right. Otherwise, you'll have to bring this fight here. You give him the experience. I love to do it.
Sakaja, you arrived late. I guess you were both in the same county, basically.
Yes.
Incidentally, we were in the same county.
Yes.
And we had agreed I was going to give him a ride.
Yeah. By
and he kept me waiting like a stood-up date. Call him. I promise you, Jeff, I'll show you the number of calls I made. Like 12. I think you didn't want to be seen with me. In his county.
Right.
I think you're already popular now.
Yeah.
Right?
No. All right, so you guys are busy campaigning. Let me ask you a question, because in the latest headline is that the military is being used to rig elections. Just, Senator, what is this, man? It's ridiculous.
Oh, I mean, you're asking me the question and concluding.
It's out there.
No, let me say this, that Honorable Raila has distinguished himself as a person who can follow his statements with facts. That's one. So therefore, although I do not know the context under which he is making that statement, you cannot just dismiss it. It's possible that if you challenge him, those statements will be substantiated. And therefore, the fact is that everything that is about these elections, 45 days to elections, is fair comment. Fair comment means that if the substantive issue, it must be raised. If it is raised, then you flag it off. Because you saw in Malindi by-election, you had military vehicles all over the place. They don't have to be marking the ballots. The fact is that you don't want them involved in anything domestic, whether it's security, whether it's whatever it is. And it's
not deviating from what he had said earlier in Kajiado?
That what?
Telling the Maasai, don't sell your land, or, chase these people away from you. No. In effect, allegedly.
He has substantiated the statement and said, do not sell off your land. Advise them, don't sell off your land. I've been those issues about historical land injustices. I view it from a different perspective. Not just historical injustices. And I want to say this, Jeff, that I got an award through Mzalendo Kenya. The parliamentarian #1 for introducing the issue of historical injustices bill. When it got to the National Assembly or was tabled in the Senate, that bill never saw the light of day. Therefore, these issues of land are sensitive. So we must treat them cautiously.
Yeah.
So that they do not blow up and it doesn't become an agenda, a hot topic for purposes of procuring votes.
Sakaja, real quick, first the military. Why bring the military into this? I think,
Mutula is trying to say that in love and war, all is fair. All is fair in love and in war. That's, whatever statements are made. I think we need to be careful. The example is giving of Malindi. I think we know the history and what was going on in that area at that time. We had a lot of Al-Shabaab attacks all the way from Lamu, coming down from Kiunga, and you know how the proximity, and even before the by-election, the military presence was there. Are we saying that when there's an election, everybody says, Al-Shabaab says packs, I used to say packs, but let's chill, it's an election and there'll be no attack. Does it mean that everything takes a rest? I think they need to be as vigilant as ever. But I think it's really irresponsible to embitter our military. Our military, first of all, is professional. Second is tribeless. It is non-partisan, as far as I know. We are proud of these guys. They made us proud around the country, around the world, in peacekeeping, etc. When you start calling them, charcoal sellers and calling them now election riggers, etc. What are you talking about? The military that you want to be commander of chief of, and it should not be that if pushed, he should substantiate. If there is any truth to what he is saying, he should already say it with the facts, as they are, and lay them through the correct processes, But the more we keep embittering our military, so what you're setting up a section of Kenyans against the people who put their lives on the line daily to protect them. Is that a responsible thing to do, Jeff? I don't think so.
Let me ask you this. When I say you guys, I mean NASA.
Yeah.
Are you all ready for this election? Are you ready? Because it seems like every week there's an excuse to delay. If it's not the IEBC, if it's not ballot paper printing, if it's not the military, if it's not... Are you guys ready?
Why is it that every time we raise a concern, we are not ready for election? Nobody has said that we want a date postponed by an hour. And everybody knows, both in the opposition and in government, that that date cannot change by just whims and caprice. It's not going to happen. That, and it's also not an excuse, Jeff, for making the election process, because it's 8th of August, it's 45 days to elections. You wake up and do the wrong thing. All of us say, step back. Let me tell you, Jeff, the reason I'm upset about this, particularly the ballot paper issue. In January of this year, we spent a lot of time at Senate and National Assembly. These guys passed it in 10 minutes. They chased the opposition out of Parliament, our National Assembly. At the Senate, we were on the floor until midnight. Why? Asking a fundamental question. Why would we agree to change the timelines for procuring these papers from 8 months that we proposed at the Joint Select Committee to 4 months? Because I anticipated these disputes. Similar disputes arose in the last general elections, Jeff, about the procurement of the electronic equipment. Guess what the judge said? He said, since it's 1 month to the election, we will not stop this thing. But what was the end result, Jeff? The end result is that we had an election which people didn't want to accept because there were so many flaws. You must take care of the process, Jeff, and not look for the results, because the results will be wrong if the process is polluted. The excuses that they are giving, Chebukati, you know, sometimes they disappoint us because we spend a lot of time in a cold place called Windsor trying to get these things right. They give excuses. You cannot do a tender with a preconceived notion that the person you want to give the tender is the person who worked for you before. Why didn't you just say it in advance so that we start having this discussion?
Is the problem Al Ghurair?
The problem is the process. How did you arrive at Al Ghurair or Al whoever? It's not the end. The end is wrong because you polluted the process. The High Court has made certain pronouncements about these people. Now, what is the reason? They're saying, Jeff, that we have used these people before.
Yeah.
And therefore, since we have used these people before, we think they can do the job. But there is no place in the law, Jeff, to circumvent the process to favor a particular individual. Otherwise, Jeff, what we will just do is call everybody's bluff, call people into a meeting, like they said they did with Tuju and other people, and say, okay, these people are good, agree, no procurement.
Sakaja, do you agree?
I don't agree. You know, when you say the process was circumvented for a specific outcome, you know, how was it circumvented? For us as Jubilee, we're not interested in who is printing ballot papers. And if you look at the rhetoric that has followed this case, you know, the claims of association of this company with Jubilee and the claims of another company associated with the court principles, I think we should save Kenyans, you know, all of this hullabaloo. It doesn't matter the company that prints it, so long as it is properly you know, sought after, procurement rules are followed, yes. And once they are followed properly, if there's a problem with how the procurement has been done, there are channels to address that. But we should also remember, we should also remember that we do have timelines, you know, and there's a deadline by which, in fact, they're reduced. If what you're saying is that instead of 8 months, it's now 4 months, you know. It doesn't matter. What matters now is that even if it's 4 months, can we get a company? Which company do you guys want? You know, how do you say? Even you guys can print the papers if you want. That will make you win the election. It's not who prints the paper that wins the election. It is who votes and who comes out to vote.
Let me say
so let things be done properly. Yeah. You know. Yeah. Let things be done properly.
Everything in an election in Kenya, this is a process of people who have trust nothing, even commas. The reason why the last commission left is because of all his prejudices. What stops these people? And we put in legal mechanisms and procedures to make sure everything is in the open.
So you saying NASA will not accept a defeat then if you lose? Will not accept?
Jeff, where did that question come from out of all the statements?
Jeff, let me tell you.
The question of accepting defeat.
Is what they're doing.
Jeff, I'm simply saying the result of this general election depends on how you treat the process. The process in 2007 was tarnished because somebody in the process thought by having more commissioners, and we know who that person is. If you want me, I can name the person. It was Martha Karua. By adding the number of commissioners and not involving other parties, that would favor you. That's the problem I'm talking about. I'm talking about process. I'm not talking about result. This is the sort of election that Sakaja or myself should lose by 1 vote and accept defeat.
Sakaja, what are you saying?
Jeff, there's a psychology of taking Kenyans through all of these questions, before you get to the process. First of all, it was casting doubt on the IBC, and we said, okay, it's okay. You guys want to change the IBC? Let's change. Who do you want as commissioners? It's okay. Where are they from? It's okay. All that was done. Questions are raised every step of the way on each and everything that they're doing. In fact, we're asking, would they like to do it themselves? Such that once you've set up people to have so much doubts in the institution of the IBC and in the process, that it then becomes very easy to say, we told you the election was rigged, the election was stolen. I think what we need to have had, possibly, and I don't know what these guys were doing in Minsa. I think he said it was cold. Probably they were busy just cozying up with blankets or something because it was cold. Because what they should have put in place, number one, is a mechanism through which the citizens can monitor what IBC does.
It's there.
What system?
It's there.
None. There's none. Don't talk to us. No.
Is that parallel tallying?
It's not about the people.
No, not that.
It's not about parallel tallying. Because he says that there's so much mistrust that anything they do, they move this glass. You're like, no, why was this glass moved by Mutula? Why not me? When will you trust our institutions, Jeff?
No.
When will you trust? Can you imagine if the head of the IBC and the executive director came from Nyeri, for instance, or came from a stronghold of Jubilee? What would they be saying? In the last election, the CEO of the IBC not only came from Nyanza, came from the same village as the PM. Did you hear us making noise? No, because we believe in the institution, not the personalities. Let me tell you, if you read the book which I've asked him to read for a few years,
which one is this?
He has not read it.
Which one?
Why Nations Fail by Dan Asimoglu. I've told you to read it, and it gives you. I've told you I'll buy it for you tomorrow. I promise you.
Better.
Bookstop, I'll buy it for you. If you read it, it differentiates countries that are able to excel and do well, given the same circumstances, against their neighbors who do poorly. For one reason, institutions. Let's build that.
Let me tell you, Jeff. There's a propensity in this country to camouflage and make flowery language about bad manners. When people raise the question of Chickengate, it looks as if it was just the scandal that never was. You know that word, the scandal that never was. In the end, Jeff, there was so much chicken going around, you couldn't differentiate what these people were doing.
Chicken pox.
Soup, there was chicken, these chicken samosas, chicken all over the place.
Right.
And these people had to leave. Because they ate so much chicken.
But the people who came in, everyone was satisfied with, yes?
No, apart from that. Listen, everybody was satisfied. Now, what was the problem that we tried to address about the last commission? We separated the work of the commission and said the commissioners will not do the procurement. That will leave to the secretariat. Again, Jeff, the secretariat is still the same. I don't know why we thought that we would leave old wine skins and new skins.
Tell us, you're the guys that do that.
No, I'll tell you what we recommended. Yeah. But Jeff, I want to insist that whether it's a day to the election, whether it's 2 days to the election, the process must appear. You know that word we use in legal terms, that it must appear, seem to be
beyond reproach.
Credible.
Incredible. And therefore, these gentlemen and ladies that we put there, Chebukati and team, must be like Caesar's wife. Jeff, they must be above reproach. If they have to give a press conference every day, Jeff, and issue a statement about what they are doing every day, let them do so. This idea of booking tickets on Emirates to fly Sakaja and other people to Dubai after the fact is of little consequence.
Who flew Sakaja to Dubai?
No, I'm just saying.
That's a bad example. That's a bad example. That's a bad example. But Jeff, I agree with him on only one point.
Oh, good.
And just to be objective about it, I think IBC and all these other institutions need to do more, invest more in confidence building. Yes. Just when the first list of IBC commissioners came out, I think I was the first and probably the only politician who went out to say, guys, really, who are these guys? not because I had issues with them.
You issued a statement, by the way.
I did. I issued a statement. I spoke about it because we wanted people who, because of their public record, because of what they've been doing in the past, inspire confidence in the process. And I agree, if it means talking every day, if it means calling stakeholders, letting everything be open, they need to do more of that. But similarly, we should also not try to pull them down as they do that. We should help them build that confidence. That's what we must do.
We have given them the tools.
It's such a delicate time. These few days, including the issue of the remarks, such a delicate time. We must be careful what we say. As leaders, we must be careful.
Oh, come on. These guys must develop thick skin, or we buy a thick skin for them.
Let me tell you, we are such thick skin in 2007.
This is blood.
But a lot of that thick skin burnt.
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay, let's switch gears, gentlemen, and let me turn to you, Senator.
Yes, Jeff.
What's happening in Wiper?
Why?
Musama going after Kilonzo. Musila endorsing Jubilee. Maybe, maybe not. What's going on? Nyenze as well.
I tell you.
Not happy with Kilonzo being the man. What's going on, Senator?
This is not unusual. It's only that you highlight it so
please. Mutula is seething.
Mutula is...
I'm sorry, Mutama.
Mutama is
seething.
With whatever.
He's not even talking to Kilonzo anymore.
Who said? How size of his power? Who told you that?
Oh, come on.
Jeff, let me explain.
Yeah.
It's only that some of the things that are happening in the party are loud.
Are loud?
Yeah, loud to the extent that you highlight them. But the fact is that Mudama expressed his displeasure about nominations, which is he has a right to.
And he said he was not running for office, and he wasn't supporting Kilonzo, but he would support NASA.
That statement has been corrected. It has been clarified. But Jeff, I know you don't want to highlight that fact. He has clarified that statement. Similarly, Senator Musila has clarified his position. Nyenze has written a letter clarifying what he was saying.
Everyone's clarifying.
I still don't understand. But Jeff, nobody asked, and where is Senator Mutula? I'm still around. I've gone nowhere. Wiper is still as strong as it was. We have candidates in all positions. Wavinya Ndeti was cleared today, despite all the hula-baloo that was going on in Machako. This is what Shakespeare said: much ado about nothing.
I think these guys should change the name of their party.
To what?
From Wiper to Eraser, because they're just using clarifying statements, or you say this party was clarified.
Much ado about nothing.
This guy, let me put it in context.
Go on.
This guy asked, my brother here, asked for the revocation of the certificate. Whose certificate was that? Nyenze, you were an official.
Yeah.
Nyenze is to Wiper.
I didn't say that.
One of your officials, after his remarks.
Yes.
Nyenze is to Wiper what Duale is to Jubilee.
Well, that's a bad example.
It's a clear example. It's
an analogy right there.
He's a parliamentary leader of Wiper.
Yeah.
Of minority.
Yeah, but he's a parliamentary leader of the entire minority. The same way
Duale is majority leader.
Yeah. So if you say that remarks by the parliamentary leader of your party, one, are not approved by the party hierarchy. Number two, are so out of turn that he needs to withdraw or apologize, or a certificate. There's a problem. I think what this guy needs, my friend and his colleagues, probably we need some shovels.
I tell you.
Because their heads are stuck in the sand. They cannot see what is going on. They cannot see what is going on. By the way, I'm from Makwezi today.
Yes.
By the way, Jeff, go on. Let me tell you, a lot of the things you see about Wiper is a lot of wishful thinking from our colleagues in Jubilee. There is nothing they would love as a party to quarrel, to fight, and then we appear to defect to Jubilee. Those sort of things.
No.
I think you're doing that on your own.
We can't defect. We are defecting.
Tell me something. Senator, would you have wanted Kilonzo Musyoka to be the flag bearer? Honestly, would you have wanted him to be?
First, let me tell you, on December 13, we nominated him as our presidential candidate. That question is answered. That was what our intention was. But we went into the negotiations with an open mind. And that is the reason why, seated here, I said that the statements made by the minority leader, Francis Nyenze, about quitting, about this, about the Nyanza Alliance, were unfortunate and unbecoming of a person in the capacity of minority leader. and I didn't need to seek instructions to make that remark. He didn't need to make those remarks. It's a negotiated settlement. Negotiated settlement in a coalition is a negotiated settlement.
But obviously there was
But lastly to say
yes,
that when he says he shortchanged, he doesn't realize, and I said it openly, that the presidency is one ticket. One ticket. You vote one ticket. And therefore, you cannot tell somebody you have been shortchanged. What did you want that person to do?
Okay, Sakaja, you are not out of the woods in this one.
Jubilee?
Yes, Jubilee. There was a headline, page 8 of the Nation today, that said, Peter Kenneth accused William Ruto of fixing him. In other words, you know, he was supposed to be the Jubilee nominee, governor for Nairobi.
He was supposed to be.
Supposed to be, allegedly, and it didn't happen. And he says Ruto's man was Sonko, and Ruto supported Sonko, and that was it, and that's how he was fixed.
You know, Jeff, I've heard a lot of stories about how nominations were in Nairobi, in many parts of the country, where people have decided to blame the deputy president for their loss. Peter Kenneth is someone I have, you know, I've known for many years, you know, and I've never known him to be erratic or to speak out of turn, and I'm really surprised that he would make such.
You're surprised at Kenneth?
I'm surprised that he would make such claims.
But why
are you surprised?
I was involved. I mean, I was a candidate. I had the highest number of votes in Nairobi by day. I had 163,000 votes. Sonko had 130,000 votes. Peter Kenneth had, I think, 60-something, you know, votes. I can't see where extra ballots were introduced.
He said some people voted 50 times for Sonko. 51, actually.
Yes. Our lines were long the whole day. How would you vote even thrice, even twice?
I will explain.
It was not possible, you know. And I think, you know, Jeff, just like in religion, honestly, you know, if there was no devil, there'd be no church. In fact, even the Mabati is donated in that church, AIC in Wote. He would ask them back, because you must always find a scapegoat and a reason to, you know, to avoid, you know, and I think this castigating is only coming out, by the way, from candidates who have an eye on 2022. So they're trying to set themselves up as either competitors or as, you know, adversaries of the deputy president because of his ambitions. Many of them have ambitions. You're hearing this from Peter Kenneth, from Kabogo, from Munya, who has declared to be. No, he's not saying that. In fact,
just said no.
In fact, Jeff, to actually strengthen my point, candidates who are supposedly aligned to the deputy president lost, like Buzeki. You know,
we are not aware.
That is what his opponent was saying. So his opponent was saying before the election that these guys are aligned to the DP.
Right.
And then when he won, he said, "Oh, okay, I've won." So I mean, those are scapegoats. And I'll ask my brother Peter, because you've asked Peter Kenneth.
Yes.
For the sake of us redeeming this county from the poor leadership of Evans Kidero, we must be one team. If our intention was not for individual pursuit of power, but our intention was really the transformation of this city, and we all agree that Kidero has done a poor, terrible job, we should have come together with a winner. And he said before, he said in this studio, that if he loses, he'll support the winner. He lost. You know, so he knows he's not going to win, but he also does not want Sonko to win.
Are you disappointed in what he said?
I'm disappointed in a lot of the things he's done after the nomination. But he has a constitutional right to vie. There are people who support him. There are people who will continue supporting him. He has a right to vie. We're not forcing him to step down. We have no right, no ability or authority to do that. But we're just appealing to him for the sake of the millions who are suffering in this city. You know, so really reconsider.
Senator, your comment.
Let me tell you, the gubernatorial race for Jubilee in Nairobi is in shambles.
Is right now
in shambles.
There's no race in
Why is that?
It's standing on its head completely, and that is why there's so much noise here and there. Who was supposed to do what?
Why is it standing on its head?
Because you see, they thought this was going to be easy. You know, it's easy to say you're going to move Dr. Evans Kidero from office. It's very easy. Wishful thinking, a lot of it. They've built castles in the air. These things have come tumbling down, and that's the reason the noise has started. And the noise has always been there. In this studio, watch severally. People throw mud at one another. This says that. This gentleman was once, I'm Nairobi. I don't know what he is now.
I'm Nairobi.
I'm Nairobi. You know? So, Margaret,
there's an outcome of a process. Many of us vied for the position. At that point, we, you know, decided to support one candidate. I decided to continue pursuing it.
And you chose Sonko, right?
Yes.
You chose Sonko, you were going to support him.
Completely, 100%. I support him. 100%. I'm working with him very closely. We're working on a manifesto together. I had a manifesto. Nairobi is going to have a senator with the mindset of a governor. Because I had a plan, and I know what needed to be implemented in the city. You know what can be done. We did a lot of research.
Can you all beat Kidero?
There's one candidate. He'll beat Kidero. Sonko will beat Kidero.
Senator?
Where are the statistics? As I've just said, castles and wishful thinking. There's a lot of it.
What are the statistics to the contrary?
The point is this. Look at what they are fighting against. We have one candidate as NASA. Everybody's behind Dr. Evans Kidero and my friend Jonathan Mweke. What are these fellows doing? They are quarreling about small little things, nominations, independent candidates, association with who, blaming Ruto for everything.
Yeah.
The fact is, there are no number. Jeff, that's it. It's going nowhere.
Number one, it's 47 days. There's no sorcerer's ball here for us to just hold and say, oh, this one is going to win or not.
Yeah.
Even a lot of NASA supporters in Nairobi are disappointed with the state of things.
Yeah, true.
There is no, garbage, for instance, and how dirty the city is not just affecting Jubilee strongholds in the city.
Yeah.
The deplorable state of health facilities, in Nairobi is not affecting just Jubilee supporters. Even NASA supporters are truly disappointed, and many of us are saying, Dr. Kidero is not a bad man. I don't think he is. Actually, I don't think he is a bad man. He's just unable to accomplish that work of Governor Nairobi.
And gentlemen, don't forget, there's another candidate. The man with the same name twice.
Megona. And you put him here.
What do you think?
And he threw barbs at everybody.
But does he have any chance?
Of winning?
Yeah.
Aye, boss, no.
He has the chance of a water drop in hell.
I tell you.
Let me tell you. You don't win by insulting him.
No.
And that's the poison of past politics. You need to move beyond. That for you to go up, you have to bring others down. That you have to insult people, insult women, throw barbs at people. I think and he's someone I've worked closely with at some point. In fact, he's written about me in his book.
Really?
Yes.
What did he do?
If you read about, he said he was talking about the constitution making process.
No, that you
and he said how him and Mutaka and the rest were AWOL, etc. But Jubilee, that MPNU, had a battery of war-hardened generals, a battalion, and I was one of those during that time.
Right.
The boundaries. But the point is this: I think he has some good ideas. I think he needs to seek, collaborations right now with some of the candidates, whoever he chooses. By the way, it is right. I don't think he's a bad person as well. And I always give everyone the benefit of doubt. Yeah. But just even his on telly, I wouldn't want my kids to be watching the things he says about people, the kind of insults on Twitter, etc.
Yeah.
But I wish him all the best.
Absolutely. There's a little merit in what is going to happen in Nairobi, that I can tell you. There's a lot of mathematics which is not...
You say Kidero outright?
I mean, really, these guys have not challenged him. Simple.
Wow.
There are 47 days, you watch it.
Yeah.
47 days, 47 counties. Gentlemen, let's take a break, come back. Let's
counting on 47 as well.
0
Let's talk about the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Is Uhuru going to be a one-term president?
Absolutely not.
Good question. I'm going to answer it.
Stay tuned. At Sen Mutula, at Sakaja Johnson, at Koinanga Jeff. The hashtag, as always, JK Live. You see, I told you, these young gentlemen, young, smart, dynamic, brilliant. Yes, it doesn't have to be about Nairobi alone, as in debating. These guys, they're not just rivals, they're also friends. It helps. Plenty more ahead. Don't even think of touching that remote control. By the way, I haven't used this extinguisher in a while. Gentlemen, give me an excuse to use it. Sing where or something.
When we come back.
All right. Back in a moment.